pickup video with a lot of stuff that I gotta go through. This is what's in my room again, ladies and gentlemen. So, I have a few things that I have to show you here. Um, Starting off with, I ended up picking up at Big Lots um, the third and fourth seasons of Being Human. So that was pretty cool. And then just today, I received seasons 1 and 2 from eBay. So I ended up spending 25 for the both of them, and they were brand fucking new. So I've at least got the first 4 seasons of Being Human. So um, that's something. And now I'm going to go over here and grab a bunch of stuff here. Okay, I'm going to bring some of the stuff that I think. Okay, so at Dollar Tree, you can actually pick all of these up. I don't know when or where. They always seem to drop at inopportune moments. But I ended up picking up. Let's see, what did I pick up? I picked up the Gravedigger, the Scarecrow, and Cold Kisser, I believe. Of Creepers. I love the look of each of these novels. I've got The Piano, Stage Fright, Pen Pals, The Golden Goblet, Ghost Rider, The Gravedigger, The Scarecrow, Cold Kisser, Dr. Death, and Mirror Mirror. Now, from what I understand, these are all reprints of author Edgar J. Hydes from the early 90s. I believe there was a series, and it ran to about 30 books or so, that was called Here Lies Creepers, or Here Lies the Creepers. And so these are a reprinting from Canada that evidently started filtering out to all the different Dollar Trees and whatnot. So, yeah. I also ended up picking up another copy of The Count of Monte Cristo from Half Price Books. So that's another thing. I started reading it. I started reading The Piano too. So now I'm back to where I used to be when I was a kid. Yeah. Next, there are 3 movies that I got by putting money into getting these. I'd actually heard of this director before. This is a director from the UK, and oh, here's a little note from him. Says, David, thank you for your support. It took a while, but we got there. And then, of course, all 3 of these came with his comic book of evidently whatever creatures he's. Felissa Harley read Wolfsbury Slayers, Nathan Robbins. Hi, I'm Lucy, your local tech support. Here's the guide who's in this issue of Myco Comics. Okay. So, evidently he does some comic stuff. This is issue number 3 from 2019. Okay, so the first, this is a trilogy. The first one in this trilogy is called Slasher House. And then you've got Slasher House 2. Let's see what it says on the back here. When Red awakens in a prison cell with within an old abandoned madhouse, she has no idea how she got there and why she has been placed there. As her cell door opens, she soon realizes that she is not alone. Trapped with the world's most notorious serial killers, she finds herself caught in a deadly game with no escape, as one by one other inmates are released to stalk her as their own prey. Red must now battle impossible enemies as she tries to find her freedom, and soon realizes that there is a bigger plan for all this than she first realized. Will this final girl have what it takes, or will she see the last of her days in the endless corridors of Slasher House? So then we have Slasher House 2, which Red has survived in the big city just time to find herself tied up in an epidemic of vanishing serial killers. But who is taking them, and what do they want with the world's most horrific masked murderers? As Red lights her way through a maze filled with assassins, monsters, and maniacs, she comes closer to discovering the truth behind the mystery and the mastermind behind the Slasher House. So, let's see. That's Slasher House, and then of course this is the one. Evidently, at one point in time, they started to film stuff, but then pandemic happened, and then half of their actors and actresses ended up, from what I understand, having to do other things, and for a while it looked like it wasn't going to happen. But then, this is what the back of this says. And this says this is number 4 out of 100. So, it's out of the frying pan into the fire our heroes as they discover the truth behind Project Slasher House and Hexagon, where Red makes her last stand against an army of government ops and new deadly killers, and the truth will finally be revealed. Slasher House 3 takes us further than ever before in the Myco universe. So I'm looking forward to checking these out. They say they're all a region, and the biggest thing that I'm not exactly a fan of is the fact that that they're not like professionally done printed DVDs. They are, in fact, look like they've been done by the director per se with his own labeling thing, but you can still rip this label off if you really wanted to, and stuff like that. So that's one thing. Independent filmmakers should get out of doing that type of thing, because you know it's kind of old school and not as professional as most fans would like. You can easily get a Zunaki or Kunaki account and print some really fucking cool copies of films and whatnot. But in any case, that being said, be right back over there to show you 3 more from a couple of more directors. Okay, so here we have a copy of the remake of The Brain That Wouldn't Die. It's directed by Derek Carl. Again, the label looks nice, feels nice on the outside. I mean, you get an actual thank you for supporting the film with a photo of like the cast members and whatnot, saying, "Dear Kickstarter backer, we wanted to extend a huge thanks," and all that jazz. And again, I can tell that they did it from their own printer. It is not exactly as professionally done as this Slasher House Rebooted, which was Slasher House 3 from the UK director. This actually looks like they didn't even try to make it look as professional as possible. They just put a picture and then typed up their own stuff instead of making it look like it was actually a store-bought thing or whatnot. But I guess that's cool. This is a 2-disc thing, I guess. I have not seen it yet. I need to. I put in for the project to get a copy of the movie. I prefer to have a physical copy of movies, so whatever. But okay, so these two are three right here are actually from Brad Twigg. It took him a while to get some of these out there. This is an anthology called Shriek Show, and I think this is actually my first movie of his on Blu-ray. I've always asked for a DVD, so having it on Blu-ray is kind of cool. Still need to watch it or whatnot just to see what it's all about. Next, I have Killer Campout. Copy of Killer Campout on DVD. Looks like it's signed by a bunch of people. Killer Campout 2, in fact. Which I know for the longest time he was trying to get some remaining funds for. And whatnot. So, definitely glad to have a copy of that. Eventually I do still need to ask him about getting a copy of Wrestle Massacre 2, which I'm sure with all the different projects that he's got going on, he's using some of those funding that he's getting from other projects to help finish some of his previous projects or whatever needs to get done. And then finally, the last one, and not the last one that I'll get from him, but the last one that I received from him was Crackoon, which I bought at the same time that he was selling for copies of Crocodile, as there is a film that called Cocaine Bear that came out, and it spawned a bunch of independent lookalikes. So definitely looking forward to checking out Crackoon. There was a Crackoon, a Blood Marsh Crackoon from, I believe, New York. A filmmaker that I know of from Amduck Productions. He had a shorter film called Crackoon, and then the sequel, Blood Marsh Crackoon, in a double feature type thing. And but at least it's spelled differently than this. So, but in any case, glad to have those. And let's see what I picked up from Half Price Books as well. Have a couple of these to get through. Where are some more? Well, before I do some of these from Half Price Books, got a couple more independent filmmakers that I needed to get out of the way and whatnot. Getting some of their latest. I tried to keep up with this guy, but he keeps making films on his own merit. So Christopher Mim from Minnesota, I believe. He for a couple of features, he's been working with his kids, I believe, and some friends of his kids, to make the Phantom Lake Kids series of films, and this one's called "The Day the Earth Abruptly Almost Ended," and of course you can see it's signed. And then of course the Mimverse Holiday Special, which I guess has got a couple of things. It's got a runtime of 39 minutes, so it's short, sweet. I guess Steve has gone missing, but Stu, his loyal side cook and nephew, knows exactly how to find him. Get human help. He sets out to find Steve's old friend Danny Johnson, and discovers the next best thing. Danny's sister Evelyn, Alice Mim. With Evelyn's help, Stu embarks on a wild adventure that takes him from outer space to the North Pole and several exotic points in between. Along the way, he battles an old nemesis, meets one of Earth's most legendary holiday characters, and celebrates the joys of the holiday season. So here I have the Mimverse Holiday Special, and it's signed by him. Next, I have another. Finally, he's back out of the working with his kids and whatnot. I think he does better when he actually does more like this. So, Annihilate All Humans is the name of this one. And this one says the world is under attack by flying saucers, and only top scientists, Dr. Edwards and Dr. Gabriel, can put an end to their unearthly aggression. Unfortunately, they have no idea it's even happening because they've been kidnapped by an incorrigible military officer and taken to a remote cabin in the deep woods for some unsolicited rest and relaxation. Can our heroes find their way back to civilization in time to stop the alien menace, or will the seemingly unstoppable space invaders succeed in their quest to annihilate all humans? So, there I have Annihilate All Humans, starring Mike Cook, Mark Hader, Tyler Haynes, Michael Kaiser, Elliot Mim, James Norgard, and written and directed and edited none other than Christopher R. Mim, also signed by him. And this is his latest film. It's The Wad, the true story behind the Phantom Lake County chewing gum disaster. It's directed by Christopher Mim, and it stars Mike Cook, Tom Gladhill, Jesse Griffith, Mark Hader, Michael Kaiser, Christopher Mim, David Mim, Elliot Mim, James Norgard, and it's supposedly his love letter to such films as The Blob. So, looking forward to checking that out. It's from St. Euphoria Pictures, all for George Productions. Looking forward to checking that out. So, from time to time, I actually do pick up stuff from horror, a French horror guy that I know called Chaos, Master of Chaos. Um, and he sold me this, which he goes around and finds things that are really gory according to him. And this is a horror short films a thing called Alex Chandon, or by Alex Chandon, with Deadly Pleasures Productions. So, not sure how many short films are on there, but looks like. Oh, and there were only 20 copies of this made. So, having a copy of the only 20 copies that were made, that's pretty cool. So these were some other films I picked up from Big Lots. This is a vampire flick on Blu-ray called Kicking Blood. Looking forward to checking this out. Looked weird. Next, I picked up a copy of Censor. Heard a lot of things about it for like $4. Starring Niam Elgar. Looking forward to checking that out. And then, of course, two of those films that follow the Amityville tradition. We've got Amityville Cult, which is directed by Trey Murphy, and I've got Amityville Scarecrow, which is directed by Jack Peter Monday. So, those are, and then also when I went to Half Price Books, I picked up the first films of Akira Kurosawa on the Eclipse collection. It's got Sanshiro Sugata, The Most Beautiful, Sanshiro Sugata Gata Part 2, The Men Who Tread on the Tiger's Tail. Then I also picked up this collection of When Horror Came to Shochiku. It's got The X from Outer Space, Goki Body Snatcher from Hell, The Living Skeleton, and Genocide. At one point in time, I had this, but then it was stolen from me. It's the original Old Yeller and Old Yeller sequel called Savage Sam from the Disney collection. And then I picked up Post-War Kurosawa. This has No Regrets for Our Youth, One Wonderful Sunday, Scandal, The Idiot, and I Live in Fear. So I thought those were pretty neat, picking those up at Half Price Books. So that is it for this this episode. I'll definitely be back with more. So hopefully you enjoyed seeing some of what I've picked up lately. And I'll be back next time to show you on what's in my room. Thank you so much.